What's going on, world? It's Mr. Harris again, and I've got more math jewels for you. Today we're going to be talking about the normal distribution curve. And normal distribution curve is just another way of displaying data. We have a collection of data or a set of data, however you want to say it, and the normal distribution curve is just a way of displaying this data. I'm going to keep it very, very simple. I just want to show you the percentages of the normal distribution curve. So for starters, let's talk about a few basic things. We first must understand that in the normal distribution curve, when we see X bar, as we like to say, this represents the mean of the data set. Another way that you'll see the mean displayed is in the Greek letter mu. It looks almost like an M, but that's the best mu that I can write for you. Okay, so mu is the mean, and then X bar is also the mean. And you'll see it either way based upon the level of mathematics that you're actually taking a course in. So for the lower levels, most likely you'll see X bar, which means the mean or average. And then for the higher levels, maybe high school and collegiate level, you'll see the Greek symbol mu to represent the mean or the average of the data set. And then the other thing you'll see is you'll see the Greek letter sigma, okay? And this is the standard deviation, okay? So we have X bar or mu for the mean or the average, and then we have sigma for the standard deviation of the data. Now, the bell-shaped curve is what this data will look like when it's displayed. So you have a bunch of pieces of data, but in a normal distribution, the data is actually displayed in a particular way. Okay, and what the rule tells us is that in a normal distribution, all of the 99.5% of the elements in the data set are within 3 standard deviations of the mean. Okay, so real quick, you have this. You have the mean or X bar in the middle. You can put mu. I'm going to use X bar for this video. And then here you have the mean plus 1 standard deviation, the mean plus 2 standard deviations. All right, and then the mean plus 3 standard deviations. That's on the right side of the curve. On the left side of the curve, you have the mean minus 1 standard deviation, the mean minus 2 standard deviations, and the mean minus 3 standard deviations. Now, it might be confusing you right now, but I'm going to break it down and make it plain and simple. All right, so once you have that, we need to figure out the percentages of the numbers in the data set that are within each standard deviation. So the rule says that 68% of the numbers in a normal distribution are within 1 standard deviation of the mean. So if we have the mean in the middle, that means 34% of the elements are between the mean and 1 standard deviation above the mean, and 34% are 1 standard deviation below the mean. Then you have 13.5% between 1 and 2 standard deviations. And actually, collectively, that would be between 95% of the, 95% of the data would be between 2 standard deviations of the mean. And then we have 2.25% here. All right, between 2.25% here. So basically, when you put these numbers together, you would get 68% of the elements are within 1 standard deviation of the mean. 95% of the numbers in the data set are within 2 standard deviations of the mean, and 99.5% of the elements in the data set are within 3 standard deviations of the mean. And that is your normal distribution curve. Now, there's a lot more that we could go into. Basically, we would put the mean here, and then the mean plus 1 standard deviation, the mean plus 2 standard deviations, and the mean plus 3 standard deviations. I have a video of an example that is a real life example. If you look in the list of videos on my YouTube channel, you'll find the screencast of a real example of a word problem that shows how to work out these. But for this particular video, I just wanted to show you the percentages on the normal distribution curve. Remember, visit my website at www.younggurusmathtutoring.com. You can look at my videos on YouTube /YoungMathGuru, and also on Instagram, YG Math Tutoring. Remember, Young Gurus Math Tutoring, I got the solution to your math problems.